Namaste. Welcome to Sipping on Stories podcast. I'm your host Sehereen, and this is where we welcome women healers and spiritual leaders from all around the world to come and share their journeys and their experiences. Thank you so much, everyone, for showing lots of love to our podcast episodes. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. Please like and subscribe to this channel so we can continue spreading some love. Thank you. Welcome, Berenice. Welcome to Sipping on Stories podcast. I am so excited to have you here today. First of all, tell us where you're joining us from and what choice of beverage have you got for us today?
Amazing. I love it. I'm from Brisbane, Australia, and I have an extra strong Tetley tea.
Extra strong is what you need. Awesome. Great. Look, again, thank you for joining. And today we're here to kind of learn all about breathwork and what you do. And you are a breathwork mentor, you're a trainer, and so many things that you've shared with me. And I definitely want you to mention how you started yoga with goats, I guess, with baby goats. I think that was fascinating. You should definitely share that. And I'm definitely going to ask you that as we go through. But what I would like you to share to begin is, of course, your journey and how did you first discover breath work and what led you to becoming a teacher and a trainer?
Amazing. Thank you, my love. How I first found breathwork, I'd say it was through growing up and feeling like there was something a little bit wrong with me and not really understanding how to work through that. I did see psychologists and I did try and work through it through traditional kind of talk therapy methods. And for reference, I grew up with social anxiety, I had an eating disorder, I had some sexual abuse trauma in my childhood as well. And by the time I was in my 20-somethings, I just knew I had to change. And I didn't truly know how, but I was really blessed. And my friend came back from a Vipassana, which is a 10-day meditation retreat. And she told me, you've got to go. And even though I'd done no spiritual practice before, I wasn't spiritual at that point. Yeah, I just went. And I went to this 10-day Vipassana, which is for people that don't, I'm sure you know, but for people that don't know, it's 10 days of 10 hours of meditation a day, no food after 12, no reading, no technology, no exercise, no yoga, no anything but meditation, and no speaking or eye contact or touching or anything like that. And I ended up having like an insane experience of being like rapidly thrown back into my body, where I got to re-experience my childhood traumas and feel like truly alive. And afterwards, I went on this huge, well, after that awakening, I just knew that I had to bring like spirituality to the modern world. I wasn't clear on how, but I was like, this feeling like of something's wrong with me is gone.
Yeah.
Like it's gone. And I remember crying just tears of gratitude and laughing. And then I was like, I know what I have to do. So I flew to America. I flew to Manhattan, San Francisco, and LA to go and sit in all the major commercial meditation studios and study every modality under the sun. And I did over 600 hours with 40 different experts, 13 teachers. I've got like about, I don't know, 10 certifications under my belt now. And it wasn't until breathwork that I realized what it was I was looking for. And I remember walking to the breathwork studio and feeling like, why am I doing this? I should just go and have dinner. Like, why don't I'd already been to the gym, but I'm like, well, I'll just go to the gym again. Like I was willing to do anything to avoid that class.
Okay.
But I'm so grateful I actually just listened to my intuition and and I sat in that class, and in 15 minutes of deep breathing, my entire reality shattered in the most beautiful way. I remember feeling like a lightning bolt of just pure love had pinned me to the floor, And I remember crying and laughing and releasing and all this grief coming up and just feeling like, again, so alive and thinking to myself, you know what? Like this modality brought what I've been looking for my whole life into reality in 15 minutes. And I didn't even want to do it.
Mm. Interesting. Yep.
Like
Okay.
I didn't understand how it works. I didn't trust that it would work,
Mm.
but I did it anyway. And it healed my heart so utterly and completely that I knew, I'm like, cool, this is it. This is what I'm teaching now. So yeah, that's the kind of short version of
Yeah.
the last 10 years. But like you said, there's goat yoga in there too. There's
Mm.
also a couple of other really interesting things that happened. So feel free to dive
Yeah.
into any of it.
It's so beautiful. And this, I say this on every episode. I'm pretty sure my listeners are kind of bored listening to this, but I think it's the truth because every person that have, every person I've spoken to on this podcast, they've gone through their own struggles to be where they are. So again, congratulations and well done, I would say, for, making this far and finding your true soul purpose. So well done. And I can, of course, there are no words, or you can't really describe your journey in those, few minutes that you did, but I'm pretty sure it was kind of a lot to take in and a lot of struggle that you went through to be here today. So great, awesome. I love it. And that's very beautiful how you found breath work. So just to kind of break it down a little bit, what is breath work exactly? If you can give us a little kind of, shed light on it, because, for those who aren't familiar, I'm pretty sure they haven't really, heard of breath work or what it entails.
Amazing. So there's 3 different camps in breathwork, and I teach all 3 in my certification because they're very, very powerful at opening up your energy to potential. Some people may have heard of it as like Kundalini awakening, but it's like basically bringing your entire body, mind, and soul into alignment so you can really live out your purpose in this lifetime.
Right.
The first style of breathwork I'm going to go into is functional breathing. And in its essence, breathwork is just about changing your respiratory pattern to create a different state of mind or a different felt experience in the body. But when it comes to functional breathing, this is what a lot of athletes do.
Right.
About like if you're breathing over 12 breaths per minute, then the truth is you're probably over breathing, which means you're breathing so much oxygen, it's putting you into a state of oxidative stress.
Oh,
Yeah.
too much oxygen is a problem too, right?
It's just like cake,
Yeah.
One slice is great, but 10 slices, it's not good. And so similarly with breath work and functional breathing, a lot of athletes or even everyday people are breathing too much. And it causes your body to be in a state of stress and not optimal functioning. And so functional breathing is about slowing down and softening your breathing rate so that you can increase your VO2 max or the amount of oxygen that you can absorb from your bloodstream into your muscles and tissues per minute. Stage 1. The second form of breath work is pranayama, which is what you'll hear about in yoga. I call this state changing breath work. So a really simple one might be, it's like we can do it now. We're just going to change our state into, if you want, it's super 1 minute. If you want to change your state into a state of deep calm or relaxation, you'll just take 3 breaths and you'll breathe in through the nose for 4 and out through the mouth for 6. And you'll check that your spine is in a nice tall straight alignment, and you'll place your hand over your belly and then breathe in 2, 3, 4 and out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you do that 2 more times. 2, 3, 4 and out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And last time. 4 and
amazing.
and so it's good, right? So this one is all about changing your state. And there's 20, 30 techniques that we use to change your state.
Mm.
And the last one, which is really popular right now,
Yeah.
you may have heard it referred to as Wim Hof.
What is that? Tell us.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool, good.
Tell us.
So there's Wim Hof, holotropic, transcendental, and all of it is a form of ancient Tibetan Tumno breathing, which warms the body
Right.
and basically speeds up your energy. Now, how it works scientifically is you offload so much carbon dioxide through your exhale that your prefrontal cortex, or this part of your mind that's always thinking and thinking about the future or punishing you for a past that you can't actually change.
Yeah.
Like that part of you gets inhibited and turns off.
Right.
And so you're able to access these deep intuitive states, like deep memories, emotions maybe that you haven't actually felt or let go of, and even ancestral bonds or past lifetimes where maybe you've carried a lineage or a belief system into this life that isn't yours. And so that form of breath work is really popular right now, and is famous for creating like spontaneous healings, for unlocking spiritual gifts, and for basically being a kind of shove back into your most relaxed and higher self.
Okay, who would have
Yeah,
thought just your breath, altering your breath can do so many things for you. And I guess that, growing up, coming from an Indian background, you kind of get exposed to yoga, early on, but it really depends. But I haven't really kind of deep dived into, what are these breathing exercises and how they actually work for you. Well, I've heard of different breathing practices that yoga has, but I kind of never felt there could be, what kind of impact and benefits it could have for oneself, whether it is, physiological or from a emotional state or from your spiritual state, and what kind of effects it can have. But this is very fascinating. So thank you for sharing that. And I, really did not think that, your breath can do so much for you, right? So many wonders. And sometimes we, when I think about it, we are so busy in our life, we do not pause to take a breath. And I think that's important to kind of listen and hear your breath, inhale and exhale. And I've learned over the years that slowness that it brings in your life is very important. So I think you need to stop and kind of listen and feel your breath. That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And Berenice, that what I also want to ask you is, there are different types of breath work that you just kind of took us through, but techniques. But what are some of the benefits? I know that we kind of talked about kind of offloading or just switching off your kind of frontal cortex and frontal head or lobe, and just kind of turning it off and then allowing you to connect deeper. But what other kind of benefits would you say it has?
Amazing. Yeah. So I'm going to share a couple of like basic benefits, and then I'm just going to share some stories because I think stories is much easier to learn from. So the obvious ones are, obviously it's going to improve your health, right? Your overall well-being is based on your nervous system, which will ultimately affect your blood flow and then improve your digestion, and then will dilate your blood vessels, which means you'll be able to think clearer, so you'll have more clarity, more focus. You'll have a greater pool of energy to draw from, and you'll also be able to unlock any potential that's been stored inside of you, but you've been pushing down because you're too in your head. So that's like the short version. When it comes to the kind of results that I've seen in my clients and even in myself, it will just blow your mind.
I am ready to. I'm ready for it. Go for it. Tell me.
Good. Okay. So we've had people come through, and in a single session, they have healed themselves from chronic pain or chronic fatigue.
Mm. Okay.
Now, they've been on medication for decades. And
Mm.
in a single session, they just purge and release any trauma that's stuck in the body, any emotions. And they find that they actually don't need medication after. We've had someone come in from the military, and again, in a single session, like has had chronic pain, was like on disability from the army because well, she
Yeah.
couldn't be in it anymore because of all the pain. And then in a single session, releases and purges this energy. And
Mm.
then afterwards, she's like, I remember the look on her face, just pure shock. Like, I can't believe I don't have any pain in my back. Like, it's gone.
Mm.
The other things that we see for myself, it's like I used to run for about 5 kilometers and I would pant.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing half marathons and my heart rate stays the same. I'm not even tired. I'm not panting. I'm breathing the whole time just through my nose. So
Mm.
stamina and endurance.
Mm.
And then oh, like the biggest ones, which most people don't really know how to ask about, are the ones where it's completely shifted your identity. You know,
Mm.
we have these things that happen to us as children,
Yeah.
which makes us think that it's not safe to show up in the world as our real personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We
when
kind
we
of
do inner
suppress it.
work, yeah,
Mm.
that's it. When we do the inner work and stop suppressing who we really are, you'll find like your your sense of time is different. You can create time.
Mm.
You'll be able to get things done faster than you ever thought were possible because you're no longer blocking yourself in your natural flow of energy and your zone of genius and different roots. You'll find that your relationships start to deepen and you have a level of intimacy that's been impossible for you before because you couldn't speak, because when you tried to speak, you would feel like you were choking.
Mm.
You'll find that, and this is another one, it's like abundance. You'll be able to bring finance in in a way that you weren't before because maybe you were unconsciously pushing away a promotion, or maybe you were sabotaging yourself when it came to working with clients on a higher level, or maybe you just didn't even see the solution that was staring right in front of your face
Mm.
with how you could just receive more from the universe, from your clients, from what you're doing
Yeah.
with breathwork. It's like we've had people come in and the magic takes hold and they go from, like, one woman went from 7K months to 13K months. Another woman went from, I don't know where she was before, but she did a 75K month in our container.
Mm.
We've had like all kinds of just insane breakthroughs that even I am still shocked by, you know?
Yeah. It's actually quite fascinating, as what, breathwork can do for you. Well, it's not only in your, relationship with your work, with kind of removing those blockages, and as you kind of pointed out, oh my God. And again, you talked about chronic illnesses as well. So I guess when I kind of think about it also, especially for women who might also have other kind of hormonal issues that they might be suffering with every day, because stress is not really a best friend, or and they don't go hand in hand, and kind of having a couple of minutes during the day to kind of practice and connect with your breath can do wonders, as
Yeah.
well. So I totally agree with that. It's proven, and I've been kind of, of course, kind of leaning towards yoga a little bit more there. And it's as it teaches the breath work and connecting with your breath, I can understand what importance it might have. And personally, when I go to bed, before I go to bed, I do a little breath work myself, where I breathe in and breathe out for a few minutes, and I
Mm.
instantly find that it helps me just relax and go to bed and have like a more deeper sleep, in allowing me to kind of have an interrupted sleep, and waking up next morning feeling a bit fresh. So definitely I see that change right away, and I cannot kind of recommend more to our listeners how they should, really kind of look into connecting with their breath and sitting down for a couple of minutes during the day, and just slowing down, just slowing down. So I think everyone in this age is in a hurry. Everyone's dealing with deadlines, with work, running around. So just kind of slow down. I think this is a good reminder. Thank you for sharing that. That was beautiful. And with breath work, the other question I had is, what are some of the common challenges that people actually face when they do come, to you to start breath work? So how do you kind of help them overcome these challenges, really?
Perfect. The main challenges, I'd say, would actually be things like consistency, discipline, and feeling like you're getting somewhere. I think most
Yeah.
people come to this practice and they want to be good straight away.
Mm.
And the truth is, with breath work, if you've got a busy mind and you've got something that's always talking and always talking about the next thing, looking for the next milestone,
Yeah.
then when you sit in silence, chances are that's only going to get louder initially.
Mm.
My teacher used to say, if you have a meditation or a breath work and your mind is really, really busy and all you can think about is having your next meal or all the to-do lists that you haven't done or all those messages you haven't replied to, he's
Yeah.
like, that's a good thing.
Mm.
Because the point of breath work isn't to find inner peace. The point of breath work is to be with what is, and then inner peace becomes the byproduct of you sitting with reality.
Mm. Yeah.
So the first challenge I find is that people don't know how to sit in silence
Mm.
because it's so loud when they do.
Yeah.
That's it. And my thing would be like the solution I offer is to reframe it, to
Mm.
know that even if you sit for 5 minutes a day and it's noisy AF, all that means is that you're reducing the noise for the rest of the day because you're choosing to listen to it now.
Mm. Yeah.
It's a powerful thing to be able to sit with that noise and not have it gain control over you. Just notice
Mm.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Just
that's number one.
witness. Yeah.
Yeah, just witness. Yeah, totally.
Mm.
And the second
Right.
thing I would say is people try and get into these practices and they're like, okay, I'm gonna do it. But then they they go so hard, so fast. Like I'm gonna do it for an hour, and it's just so much that it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So my solution is just do it, literally sit for 5 minutes. If you can't sit for five, do a minute, just those
Mm.
3 breaths.
Mm.
My most powerful tool that I talk about is when you're on stage. So for those of you that aren't speakers, it might be when you're in a difficult conversation,
Mm.
right? Tension's really high and you
Yeah.
don't want to say the wrong thing and upset the other person. It's like that's when you engage the breath
Mm.
and you just inhale and then you exhale longer than you inhale. And just keep doing that. And what that's going to do is slow down your heart rate.
Mm.
And then what that will do is send all that blood that has gone to your muscles and away from your brain so you can't think clearly. It's going to send all that blood back into the center of your body, into your heart. And so you'll be able to think clearly into your brain. And you'll
Yeah.
be able to actually articulate what it is that you're afraid to say.
Yeah.
It'll moisten your mouth. It'll
Mm.
moisten your eyes.
Mm.
This is what happens when you go into the parasympathetic nervous system or rest and digest.
Mm.
And then from that place, anything that you speak will be so much more powerful than speaking from a place of fear or stress.
Yeah.
Right?
Great.
Yeah. So I would say that
Mm.
the third biggest challenge that people come to me with is not being able to trust their intuition.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's
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 like,
very hard because it's very subtle, and you need to kind of train yourself in kind of listening to your subtle voice. That's in your intuition, basically. Yeah.
that's it. You got it. How do
Mm.
you discern between instinct and intuition? Because instinct feels like, oh, I feel this. It's scary. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But intuition, when something scares you, sometimes it also really excites you.
Mm.
And it's like, I don't want to do it, but I want to do it.
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
how do we step powerfully into this again and again?
Yeah.
Move through, speak my truth, share
Yeah.
what's important to me, be myself, open my heart, love deeper. Right?
Yeah.
I'd say that's the challenge that people face when they come to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's all makes sense, and with the challenges as well, because I think the biggest kind of challenge is kind of committing, as you said, discipline, being disciplined. As
Mm,
we're so busy in our lives, we kind of, as I said, we kind of do not sit down for a couple of minutes and connect with ourselves, and kind of bringing that discipline is important. And even if you can,
mm,
you know, kind of agree to sitting down and just connecting with your breath for a minute, as you said, can do wonders. And the intuition part as well, I had someone, uh, that a woman that I really kind of admire had told me once, how you kind of practice your intuition, because I had asked, how do you kind of practice your intuition? So she said, just do it with the little things like, today, I'm just gonna wake up and be like, okay, I'm gonna have coffee. Do I want to have coffee or do I want to have tea today? See what your inner voice tells you. Do I want to, take the train to the office, or do I want to drive? See what comes up first. So because your intuition is always gentle, and it's always kind of, it's gentle. It's not going to ask you to make any rash decisions, basically. So you practice the little things. When you kind of get to a big thing, your intuition is there, loud and clear for you, telling you what to do. So that kind of stuck with me for a long time, and I think it totally makes sense, as well. So yeah, it totally makes sense. Thank you for sharing that. And I guess, Berenice, and I want you to kind of highlight on what was this yoga with goats all about? Because this was fascinating when I heard about it. Tell us, tell us what is yoga with goats, and what was the experience like? So tell us all about it.
I will. And so we can lead on from intuition into this part of my journey too, because it I got an intuitive hit to bring this work to the world, right? And then my brother at the time was a really successful business owner. And I said to him, like, how do I make this like take hold, like really make an impact? And he was like, well, you need to do something that goes viral. And
Mm,
so I thought, okay, well, what are some viral ideas? And I remember writing down meditation with goats,
mm.
silent disco yoga, and meditation in a hot tub. And then I went and
Okay.
took this list to my brother and I said, hey, what do you think? And he was like, I don't know, test it. And I'm like, okay. So then I ended up putting an event online called Meditation with Baby Goats.
Oh, it was the
And
meditation, and did it have yoga as well? Maybe I just kind of had yoga in
no,
my
it
head all
does.
the
It does.
way. Okay.
No, it does now.
Okay.
But yeah, when it first started, it was just meditation.
Mm,
And people went crazy. This
mm,
is what blew my mind. I did not expect people to go crazy, but this is what happens when you really listen to your own intuition and still take the action, even if it seems crazy.
mm.
Because I remember like I got all these email notifications whenever someone bought a ticket, and it was like bing, order notification, bing, 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 and it just kept coming. And I remember running into my brother's office and going, Gordon, like people are buying it. And he's on his computer, he's like, what? And he's like, can you do it? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, well, you better try. And so I ended up bringing all my friends together and running a meditation with baby goat session in a studio, a dance studio. And it was so bad. It was like all the goats came in and they peed everywhere. And we only had one volunteer with a mop. It was nuts. But then, but then it was like, great, now I know everything that doesn't work. And so I
Mm.
ran it again. Like this is everyone that had bought the tickets. And I had all these volunteers. We took the babies and made sure they were in their pen first. So they went to the bathroom first and they came into the studio space. And then, oh my God, like it was so transformative. That's what is mind blowing is like it started off as like a kind of almost like, how can we get more people doing meditation? And
Mm.
then it became like one woman is like holding this little baby goat the whole session. She's not doing anything else, just holding it. Eyes are closed, crying. And at the end, she comes up to me and she's like, oh, I used to like live on a farm with baby goats, and like I haven't cried in years. Like I haven't felt this grief in years. You know, like it's so funny and it's so meaningful. And the number of times that we've just, like one time we went to a suicide crisis center, and the women came out and thanked us afterwards and said, hey, just so you know, like there are people, like clients that we have that we've been working with for 6 months, and today was the first time they've smiled.
That's really
And I
touching.
remember, yeah, I was like, that's it. That's why we do this.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so it all started from just following my intuition.
Are you still doing it?
I am, but my cousin runs it, and I just kind of step in every now and again to help
Yeah.
or create some more, more ideas.
Yeah. Look, I was in Brisbane for 6 years, and I have seen this event pop up somewhere, I remember, because I was like, meditation with baby goats. Like, this is interesting. Like, then I who knew years later I would meet you who created idea. So crazy.
So crazy.
Amazing. And I guess
Oh.
from there I've seen a lot of events that took place at the meditation involving kittens or involving puppies, and it's crazy, and it's quite fascinating also how these animals can be so healing to one, right? And even your pets can be so healing to you. So I guess it was a great initiative, and I love the concept. And I haven't really done meditation with baby goats, and I would love to, maybe if you have them in Melbourne.
We do actually. We have, yeah, we've gone back to Melbourne. Yeah, goat yoga's in Melbourne now, so I can definitely send you the link.
Yeah. Listeners, if you're in Melbourne or in Brisbane, definitely go check it out. And I think I will probably do so. So I'm just gonna probably pull my family and go with them and experience it myself. Amazing. Thank
Well, the
you
premise,
so much for sharing that. It was lovely.
oh,
Awesome.
yeah, I did
And I
mention
yeah.
of the premise of it is designed to be like ridiculous and funny and messy. And the purpose behind it is to really instill like the principles of meditation, which is that
Mm.
every meditation or breathwork that you do or yoga practice is going to be imperfect and chaotic and messy. And you just have to laugh at it. Like, don't take it seriously. Just keep going and smiling.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, awesome.
Mm.
And I guess, what I've realized chatting with you, this far is that, breath is so fundamental. Like it is just the essence of our being. Like without breath, we don't exist. So breath is so fundamental. And, yet we kind of rarely think about it on a daily basis. We don't really think about it, yet we're breathing. So, what are some of the common misconceptions people actually have about breath work that you may have come across?
Yeah, I'll start with the first one. I think the first misconception is that it's only for woo-woo hippies. And I love to always dissolve that straight away because
Mm.
I was never a hippie. I was not spiritual, but I just gave it a go. And now I am a hippie. I'm most definitely a woo-woo spiritual weirdo, but I was not always. And I think the other fear or misconception that people have is they go, well, what if I become so present, Burr, that then I don't want to actually have anything in the material world anymore? Because I love my luxury life and I love my family depends on me. I can't just stop
Mm.
wanting to earn a wage and stuff like that. They're like, what if I become a guitar playing hippie who just smokes weed on the beach all day? And and my thing is, that's not going to happen if it's not truly in alignment for you. I never became that. I
Mm.
instead built a six-figure and then a multi-six-figure business, and have learned to take my work like and share it with as many people as possible. So if anything, I'm probably actually busier than I used to be, but
Yeah.
in a really, really happy way. And the biggest thing there is like that's a misconception based on a time where meditation, breathwork, and yoga were most popular in like village lifestyle.
Mm,
And so if you did do those practices, then you probably were going to become a monk someday and live in a monastery or on a mountaintop. But now we live in a modern civilization and
mm,
we live in a capitalist society. And so it's probably not going to happen to you that you'll just want to surrender everything. You'll probably just become a happier, stronger, more energetic, and more focused version of yourself.
mm.
Um, the last misconception, oh, hmm, hmm, probably that it's just this. People are like, yeah, I need to just take a breath. So just go. Not
Agree.
realizing that while that intention to
Mm,
take a deeper breath is great, there is so much more to it if you're willing to even just spend 5 minutes.
mm,
And there's times when I'm like, I am busy and I don't have time for breath work. And all I want to do is just tackle this to-do list and get back to everyone that's, my team, my clients, everyone that needs my attention.
mm.
And it's during those times when I will stop for breath work.
Yeah.
It's like when you think that you don't have time for it, that's when
Mm,
you do it.
yeah.
And what you'll find is that afterwards, everything that is not urgent will
Mm,
sink to the bottom and will cease to matter. And you won't chase your tail all day. And
mm.
everything that is important that you missed will come into your awareness. And you'll be able to tackle it with such laser focus that you'll have way more time than you actually thought you did before you did that 5 minute breath work.
So interesting. Who would have thought? Thank you so much for sharing that today, Rick. I'm kind of amazed myself, and I've heard amazing things about breathwork in the past, but kind of listening to you today, sharing your experiences and sharing your clients' experiences, kind of
Hmm.
got me more intrigued as well. And I personally want to take up, time to kind of make sure that I connect with my breath every day, and I do so recommend to our listeners. And Berenice, if you have any resources that you can share today with our listeners, either it is any books that they might can read, or watch any videos or anything that you recommend, let us know,
Oh,
and we can obviously link it in the description, so our listeners can also benefit from it.
oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. So the first thing is there's a free breathwork playlist on Spotify that they can just listen to.
Mhm,
Yeah, just on Spotify. So we'll pop that link down the bottom. The second thing, Breath by James Nestor. If you want your mind blown,
mhm.
read that book. It has transformed many a non-believer.
All right. Okay.
And the last thing is I do have like free breathwork journeys, so
Mhm.
longer, that third camp I was talking about, available. If you just follow me on Instagram or Breathwork and you just get in touch, I will literally just send you a free 60-minute journey. And they go for, I think, $66 online in my events, but I'll just give it to you for free. So yeah,
Amazing.
heaps,
Great.
heaps out there.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I guess with that, we have come to an end of our episode, sadly, but it was so exciting and so kind of, eye-opening for me, just having this conversation on breath work and what it is. So thank you so much for coming on in here today, Berenice, and sharing your journey, your experience. Really, it was heartfelt. It was quite touching, and I hope that our listeners benefit from this episode, and they can take away key points and really bring in breath work into their lives. So bring in some slowness to kind of help them really kind of uplift from where they are. So thank you so much again for coming on board. I'm really, really so grateful to you. And if you have any quotes that you kind of live by or kind of comes to you again and again, please do feel free to share it here. And then we'll wrap.
I do have one.
Go for it.
And I always have something that I want to believe and embody stuck to my computer so that it reminds me every day. And then once it's embodied for me, like I can realize it without actually ever needing to see it or have anyone tell me that that's the case, then I take it down.
Okay.
And so this one is my intent was and always is pure. And I think there's so many people in the world who have done the wrong thing. You know, maybe they've hurt someone, maybe they didn't achieve what they wanted, maybe they didn't fulfill their dreams, maybe they offended somebody. And my greatest mantra has been, my intent was and always is pure.
Love
I
it.
am entitled to forgiveness, as is everybody around me, and we're all innocently doing the best that we can at every given moment, or we wouldn't be doing it.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that, Berenice. And again, coming on Sipping on Stories podcast. It has been a really amazing talking to you and connecting with you. Again, thank you again, and for an amazing episode. Take care. Lots of love.
Thank you, my love. It's been absolute.
With that, cheers.
Cheers.